What's up, guys? Brady here, coming at you with an album ranking for active rock giants Shinedown in preparation for their upcoming 8th album, fittingly titled 8, releasing in a couple days. Despite the fact that Shinedown is a band that I've listened to almost my entire life, I still came out of this experience listening back to all of these records with a new takeaway. And that takeaway was that their discography is quite spotty. Because with their discography, you have a couple of albums where I would actually consider them like some of my favorite hard rock albums ever. But then you have other albums that are just downright terrible. I think this video is going to compete with my 3 Days Grace ranking for most sprawling rankings between the albums as far as the score that I give, which I always reveal at the end of the video alongside a tier list. And yeah, let's get into it. Shinedown album ranking with the album I'm going to put at the bottom. It was a toss-up between two records, and they're very equal in low quality. But the album I'm going to put at the bottom is Planet Zero, their last record from 2022. As far as musically, quality-wise, this and the next album I'm going to talk about are pretty much even, but there's a few things that drag this album down to the bottom spot. For one, this futuristic concept is just beyond played out. It was in 2022, and it still is now. They're doing shit that Starset did 8 years prior on their debut album, but it's worse because the music itself actually doesn't give off that vibe at all. The result is an album where the songs sound very different from each other. They don't sound at all like they're supposed to fit under a certain concept just based on their sound. And you have all these pointless and disruptive, annoying at times interlude tracks that are supposed to tie these songs together. That I guess is the only instance of actual continuity on this album. And this is supposed to be a concept album, keep in mind. But I fucking hate the interludes on this album. They make an already bad album significantly worse. And as far as the actual songs on here, it's not much better. First, you got the title track, which is also the lead single, that has a complete dud of a main riff and an even bigger dud for a chorus. I mean, just listen to those melodies. I feel like I've heard those exact melodies on like 10 different hard rock songs. There's really two moments on this record that I feel like the band was trying to harken back to their early sound, one of which being the Saints of Violence and Innuendo with the super edgy title. This song, it sounds like a Sound of Madness C-side, like a B-side to the B-sides. And then you have the god-awful pop rock attempts on this record with songs like Sure Is Fun and What You Wanted, and it is pure cringe. A couple of the ballads, Hope, Dysfunctional You, don't hit it all either. The song Daylight is one that I lean slightly positive on. It's another ballad type track, and it's got like those corny like choir vocals that I think are awful, but the song does show some like genuine emotion. And there's two tracks I like on here. First, No Sleep Tonight. It's like this really quick, like 2-minute almost crossover thrash type song with a fun vibe to it. It's really interesting. It's definitely my favorite on here. And then I also like A Symptom of Being Human. Another song that I think is just very relatable. It's got a good message delivered in a fairly original way. And it's the other moment on here where I feel like the band is retracing their steps slightly just with that southern tinge the song has to it slightly. But yeah, out of 20 songs on here, there's 2 good ones. So, I mean, there's no way this album was going to dodge being last. Top 3 tracks, very easy. No Sleep Tonight, Symptom of Being Human, and Daylight, I guess. Don't trip! Just narrowly escaping the bottom spot is the album I'm going to put at the number 6 spot. That is Threat to Survival from 2015. Literally the only thing that saves it from being at the bottom is that it's a lot more tight-knit. It's shorter. It doesn't have some pointless concept over it. But quality-wise, it's still pretty bad. Like, I remember I liked Cut the Cord, the lead single, when it came out, but listening back on it now, it's so cringe. And there's other moments on here, like It All Adds Up, and Oblivion, which also in a similar way try to just be edgy. They try to be really edgy. But they're like, with these songs, there's like that super out of place sounding blues element thrown in there. And I remember the track Outcast was supposed to be like the heavy song on the record, and it's just a total absolute dud. There isn't even a riff on the song. Instead, we get that stupid fucking 2-note drone. Thick as Thieves sees the band functioning as about as Imagine Dragons as they could possibly get. And then the closing ballad, Misfits, is one of the worst ballads they've ever done. It doesn't hit at all, especially in comparison to past Shinedown ballads. This song just comes off really shallow and soulless. Again, the top three songs will be really obvious, but I'll elaborate a little on each one. For one, Asking For It. It has its catchy moments. I like the vocal cadences in the verse. They, again, just have a really catchy rhythm. How Did You Love is another one with just a really good, catchy, infectious chorus. I like the syncopated drum beat going on underneath it. And then State of My Head actually sees the band functioning pretty well in a pop rock style. The song is just endlessly catchy. Those are my top three tracks. State of My Head, How Did You Love, Asking For It. Coming at number 5, I'm going to give to the band's second album, Us and Them. I think it was, 2006 it was released. I don't really have much to say about this album, not because it's really bad like the first two. It's just really forgettable. I, for one, have never understood, firstly, why everyone loves the big single from this album, Save Me. That song, it puts me to sleep. I'm sorry. Lyrically, I understand it's vulnerable, but musically, I mean, the track is just boring. It's not memorable to me at all. I do, however, love the other big single from this one, I Dare You. I would put that song maybe in my top 5 Shinedown songs ever. I love the progression. Brent just effortlessly changing just his vocal range. He starts a bit lower, he gets more in his mid range, and he gets really high for the chorus. There's this epic dramatic send off. This is a phenomenal song. Unfortunately, pretty much no other song on this record is of equal quality. Your Majesty, Lady So Divine, Fake, Atmosphere, Begin Again. These songs are just, there's nothing. They're in one ear, out the other. That's really the best way of describing it. I think Shed Some Light is a decent, again, ballad type track, and then the closer Someday is fine. I top 3 tracks. Yeah, I Dare You, easy, and then we'll go Shed Some Light and Someday. Coming up next is the band's 2018 album, Attention, Attention. Coming off the train wreck that was Threat to Survival, I definitely did and still do feel better about this record. But I'll get the lows out of the way. And this album has its lows. For one, Kill Your Conscience is fucking awful. It's another very blatantly Imagine Dragons type sound. It sounds like the band took direct inspiration from Imagine Dragons. And I know Get Up was a very successful song, but I've always found it nauseatingly sugary. And then it's the same kind of thing as Us and Them. There's a few middle of the ground type of tracks. I think the title track is one of those, and a few others. There's definitely more songs, though, that I like on this record. Probably my favorite track on here is Black Soul, just a song that is absolutely full of dynamics and energy, and it's a very hard-hitting hard rock song. It's heavy, but it still has a fun nature to it as well, just in the bounce that it has. Pyro and Evolve are similar tracks. They just have a good amount of energy to them, and they feel like the band is at least trying to harken back to that hard rock sound that they did so well. And same thing with the lead single, Devil. That's still a track that I like. I think that song is a much better version of what they tried to do on Cut the Cord. Brilliant is a middle-of-the-ground type track for me, but I do like the kind of contrast going on, because when you look at the rhythm section on here, the song is really heavy. But again, in its melodies, it's very uplifting. And again, it's a fun song. And I also like the ballad on here, Special. Definitely not one of the best ballads they've ever done, which we'll talk about, but it's another solid one. As far as the concept, I gotta give it the same criticism as Planet Zero. They were talking so much, I remember this, they were talking a lot about this being a concept record. But is it just me, or is this concept so fucking vague? I don't know at all what the concept of this record is supposed to be. I'm sure the band has gone on record talking about it, but with concept records, there needs to be a balance of having some lore and getting some background information on it, and also being able to actually distinguish what the concept is from listening to the record and reading the lyrics. And you cannot do any of that on this record. So yeah, not a bad album, but definitely far from their best, and still a fairly spotty record too. Top 3 tracks I'm going to give to Black Soul, Devil, and Pyro. Wake up! Pull yourself together, speak up! 'Cause no one... Number 3, I'm going to give to the debut, Leave a Whisper. This is probably the first record I've talked about so far where I don't have any like straight up negatives to say about it. With this one, I think it's just weaker in comparison to my number 1 and my number 2 albums, which I'm about to talk about. And you still have some really good songs on here, like Fly from the Inside, which I believe was the first single from the band because it's their first album. It is full of energy. I've always liked the track Stranger Inside. It has a good, like, dark atmosphere to it with these really, like, barren sounding verses and a more full, but again, dark sounding chorus. And Brent Smith gets really high up in his range once again. You really feel the despair in this song, which I think is fitting of what he and the band might have been going through around that time. There's still some filler on here, like Lacerated and No More Love, too. And I'll be honest, I've never particularly been drawn, again, to the big single from this record, 45. Again, another lyrically very raw song, but I've never found that this track does many, unconventional or interesting new things, especially at the time. And it's a solid record overall. That's really the most I could say about it yet again. But top 3 tracks, Stranger Inside, Fly from the Inside, and Burning Bright, another good ballad type track. At number 2, I'm going to give it to Amaryllis, the band's 4th album from 2012, and this is the first of 2 records that I really actually like. As far as negatives, there really isn't much. I think maybe the only track on here that I find a little cheesy is Miracle, and even that one, like, aside from the chorus, still has some melodies that I like. And a couple of the singles, like Adrenaline and Enemies, instrumentally I actually like because they're full of energy and have some heavy parts. But again, lyrically, maybe a little bit corny, a little bit just overly edgy. But that's about it. Even a song like Bully, which is blatantly like marketed towards kids. I mean, it's an anti-bullying song, but I actually kind of respect it for that. It delivers the message well and effectively, and it still has a drama to it. I love the single Unity on here, which is like maybe one of this album's poppier moments. But again, this song is just so energetic and full of life. I mean, that chorus is just so uplifting. Brent's vocal melodies on here are endlessly memorable. His cadences are super catchy. And this is a rare case where I think the studio effects, just the strings and the keys that are present in this song actually add to it. The ballad on here, Through the Ghost, is phenomenal. Just some gorgeous melodies in that track. Very like relatable and straightforward, but hard-hitting lyrics, and a great vocal performance again from Brent. I love the drama and the tension in songs like My Name Wearing Me Out and For My Sake. I'll Follow You, another straightforward but hard-hitting ballad-type track with a really powerful chorus. The band gets political on the track Nowhere Kids, which I've always seen as like a sequel to Devour from Sound of Madness. And yeah, this album just has a lot of uplifting energy to it, some dramatic moments, a good amount of diversity in its style. Not perfect, but definitely a great modern hard rock album. Top 3 tracks, Unity, Through the Ghost, and For My Sake. So yeah, for me, the number 1 Shinedown album is The Sound of Madness. I think a very agreeable opinion. I mean, when you listen to the music and when you read the lyrics and when you just take in everything, like, there's really no question that this is the band's best album. It has the best elements of Shinedown's entire scope of sound. The heavy moments on here are still probably the band's most hard-hitting ones. Devour, Sin with a Grin, Cyanide, Sweet Tooth Suicide, despite its kind of corny, edgy lyrics, Cry for Help, like, all these songs are pretty, like, actually really heavy for Shinedown. And like I said, I still think they're probably the band's heaviest moments. You got straightforward active rock ear candy with songs like Second Chance and The Crow and the Butterfly and If You Only Knew, which are very accessible, like, yeah, active rock radio rock songs, but they're so endlessly catchy. They give off the emotion that they're intended to. That's the big difference for me when it comes to this radio rock style. If the band can actually convey emotion through their songs, then I could totally still get into it. And this album is a phenomenal example of that in these kind of like middle tracks that go for more of just that straightforward, accessible rock sound. But as far as the melodic attempts on here, they might be this album's best moments. The sleeper hit for me from this album that I remember like not being into when I was younger, and now it's like my favorite song on here, is the track What a Shame. Instrumentally, vocally, lyrically, mood-wise. The song is just full of pure despair. It tells this gut-wrenching story of, I believe, a man who passes away and just his life. I don't know exactly who the inspiration is. I'd assume it's someone related to the band. But despite the fact that the band has 2 concept records out, like entire concept records, quote unquote, this song is still the best story the band has ever told in their music. Breaking Inside is great. And of course, the big ballad on here, Call Me, which, I mean, this is easily the band's best ballad to date. Maybe the only competition for me would be Through the Ghost, but this song to me, this is a perfect, like, modern active rock ballad. It's full of emotion, it's catchy, it's memorable. What more could you want from this style? So yeah, easy choice for me for the band's best album. It's their heaviest, but also their most dynamic. It has some of their best melodic attempts ever. Lyrically, it's very vulnerable. Most of the time, we'll maybe skip over the lyrics on Side Night, Sweet Tooth Suicide. So yeah, phenomenal record. If you're watching this video and you haven't listened to this album, what are you doing? Top 3 tracks, What a Shame, Call Me, Devour.
What a shame, what a shame. Change a life that you can't change. The choir sings, the church.
And that's it for my Shinedown album ranking. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment below how you would rank Shinedown's albums. And if you're a fan of Threat to Survival or Planet Zero, please enlighten me. Tell me the piece that I am missing. I would love to hear it. Until next time, remember to subscribe for more rock and melody content, and I will see you guys later. Peace.